Fear hits home. Let's talk about Scream 7. Burn it all down. When a new Ghostface emerges in this quiet town where Sidney Prescott had started a new life, her darkest fears are realized when her daughter has become the next target. Determined to protect her family, Sidney must face the horrors of her past to put an end to the bloodshed once and for all. With this film, there was a lot of behind-the-scenes controversy, especially with them firing Melissa Barrera for pretty much saying genocide is bad. Then Jenna Ortega left to stand by her, and after some rewrites, them bringing back the original stars, we get this. And I know with this film, it got a lot of mixed reviews, and I can understand why, which I will get to in a bit. But I have to admit, with this film, it was still pretty entertaining. Did the Scream franchise pretty much become stabbed with this film? Yeah. And with that, I got to say, it was pretty entertaining. With this film, I do think that the cast did great for the most part, as we had some of the originals coming back, from Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers, to which we also do get some other people coming back, even though it was already confirmed, but we do have Matthew Lillard back, and several others, which it was cool to see their characters for the most part. Especially cool to see Matthew Lillard in this. Interesting concept with that. But also returning, we do get Jasmine Savoy Brown back as Mindy, and Mason Gooding back as Sad. Unfortunately, the core four seems to be no longer, but seeing them two back as their characters, I have to admit they were pretty entertaining, and they fit very well with the new set of characters. Because with this film, pretty much one of the main stars was Isabel May as Tatum, Sidney's daughter. And I did really enjoy her in the film. I thought she was great. She was a great addition to the Scream franchise, as there were great dynamics between her and Sidney. But also joining them, we do have McKenna Grace, Celeste O'Connor, Asa German, Sam Reckner, Anna Camp, and several others. And while I do like the cast for the most part, I do think that there could have been more to a lot of these secondary characters. Because at times, it just felt like they were there just to be there. Not going to reveal who, but when some of them do end up getting slashed, we don't really feel nothing for them. But besides that, like I mentioned, there was some great character dynamics, especially between Sidney and Tatum. But also, there were some great moments with Sidney and Gail too. It was great to see Courtney Cox come back in this, as Sad and Mindy are now working for her. And it is just interesting to see how Sidney is doing in life after everything that has happened. Sidney Prescott is my favorite final girl, and it was just great to get more of her in this. But one thing that I really liked about this film was the slashings, as in a way this felt more brutal compared to other Scream films. That definitely did stand out to me a lot. And with this Scream film, it does tackle the theme of nostalgia and AI, as I do think that it did it in a pretty interesting way. But at the same time, I do think it could have been a bit better with that. But with some flaws for this film is that there were some stuff that it seemed to introduce but like never revisit. I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. I do believe that some of the characters could have just had much more to them. And for some reason, they were just constantly repeating on how Sidney was absent in New York during the Ghostface attacks there. It was like, yeah, we get it. Move on. But really the biggest takeaway for this film was the Ghostface reveals. It was interesting, but I do think it could have been executed better, especially with the motivation behind it. With this film, it did feel like that it needed just more, because there were just times where it seemed to be setting up for something. It'll show something and then like automatically forget about it. It did feel like that a lot was cut out of the film, which probably would have helped the film more if it was kept in. But besides those flaws, I do have to admit this was still a pretty fun movie. My theater went crazy during a lot of the stuff in the film, and it was just a fun slasher. Did the Scream franchise pretty much become stabbed with this film? Unfortunately, yes, but it was still a pretty entertaining film. And I gotta say, it was great to get Sidney Prescott back. I would like to say though that I would have loved to have gotten more of the Carpenter sisters. Hearing lately about the rumors what the original Scream 7 was supposed to be, yeah, 6 was a perfect ending for them. Not gonna lie, those rumors are like, what the heck? But it is still super upsetting and disappointing what happened to Melissa. Overall, with Scream 7, is this a terrible movie? No. I can understand the negative reviews for this film though, but for me personally, I have to admit, I had fun with it. But since it is said that Scream 8 is in works, I hope that they learn from their mistakes. But have you seen Scream 7? If so, what are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below and follow me for more.